moving into terminals for the buses. Your Excellency, we've got 7 terminals. You mentioned yourself, we have a terminal in Entebbe, we have a terminal in Maya, we have a terminal in Gayaza, we have a terminal in Mukono, in Matuga, and Kakiri. And now these terminals are going to have a daily turnover of approximately 200 buses. And later this month, we are absorbing all these Mayambaras you see here, taxi operators, taxi owners, training them to international bus driving standard. We want the people of Uganda under serious protection with the very serious people. Your Excellency, we are supported in our management by the largest urban transport management company in Africa, which is called RHT, based in Mauritius. They are going to constitute part of what we call knowledge transfer and skill transfer. Your Excellency, I am done. I am representing private sector people who are coming together to make sure that your dream here in Kira Motors becomes reality. But before I step down, Your Excellency, I would like Mayambala, who is in charge of the taxi operators and owners, to say 1 or 2 words, because you said they are supposed to be very key in this work. Your Excellency, thanks.
Sebo Wekitiibwa President, n'abakulu abalala bonna abaliwo wano, nze mutabani wo Mayambala mu staff okuva mu taxi industry. Twatambudde ne chairman wa taxi owners mukulu Gadi Mugisha b'omanyi obulungi. Sebo President mu 2015 nga tuzze mu meeting gye watuyita mu State House Entebbe, watugamba nti tweteekereteekere enkyukakyuka ey'enkulaakulana mu by'entambula y'abasaabaze. Sebo ekigambo kyo tetwakirekaawo, twatambula nakyo ne tujja ne twongera okumobilizinga bannaffe ba driver, ba conductor, bannannyini taxi okulaba nga tweteekerateekera enkyukakyuka eyo. Eky'omukisa omulungi ti abatondeka Metro Bus Company bwe bajja era nabo tebaakola kintu kirala kyonna nga tebasoose kutuula naffe ng'aba taxi. Sebo mukama wange, njagala okukakasa nti vision gy'oyina naffe yatuyingiramu, era tukakasa tinga wooli ne baminisita baffe, minisita wa Kampala twamulabyeko wano, nga weebali nabo tusuubira nti tewaliiwo kijja kulemesa nteekateeka eno ey'enkulaakulana okugenda mu maaso. Tulirwedde okulaba nti ffeffe nnyini nga bwe wagamba ti abali mu mulimu gwa taxi abawaniridde omulimu gw'ebyentambula y'abasaabaze ebbanga eddene, tulina okubeera nga twenyigira era tuyingire mu nkyukakyuka eyo, era tuli beeteefuteefu okulaba nti tutambulira wamu n'enkulaakulana mu Kampala n'eggwanga lyaffe lyonna. Weebale nnyo Sebo Pulezidenti okutwagala ng'aba takisi ate n'okutwagaliza. Weebale nnyo, weebalire ddala.
Thank you very much. Your Excellency, we've got the next speaker who is going to make a small presentation, and this is none other than the Chief Executive Officer of Kira Motors, Engineer Paul Isaac Musasizi. He normally calls himself the Chief Worker at KMC.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, the Honorable Ministers here present, especially my fresh Minister, Honorable Dr. Monica Musenero, who managed to organize with your office to be here, Members of Parliament, executives in government agencies and the private sector, all protocol observed. Your Excellency, we have scientifically characterized 5 building blocks for building the indigenous motor vehicle industry, which we have termed as the pillars of the indigenous motor vehicle industry. The people who will use the vehicles and who will work across the value chain, the products which have to be very well thought to be relevant to the need, the factories which will make the vehicles and the parts, the infrastructure that some of the previous speakers have talked about, the bus stops, the charging stations, the terminals, the roads which you're working on, and very importantly, the policy, which puts all of this together to ensure that we develop the market sustainably. Allow me, Your Excellence, to share some very quick facts about the automotive industry or the motor vehicle industry, which guide our thinking and direct our effort towards the assignment you gave us when you visited us in 2011 and said, you've been now teaching and doing some academic exercises, but let us move to establish an indigenous motor vehicle industry. First, Your Excellence, globally, the automotive industry is one of the oldest industries, and it has a turnover annually of over $3 trillion, contributing up to 3.65% of the global GDP. 2017, the production was in excess of 86 million units. And here, Your Excellence, with your vision, having a Pan-Africa perspective, I want to observe one thing. China has a population of about 1.6 billion people, and as of 2017, they were producing 24 million vehicles of the 86 million vehicles produced that year. Africa had a population of about 1.3 billion people, producing a modest 1.2 million vehicles annually in 2017, mainly in South Africa, Morocco, Algeria, and Nigeria. Your Excellency, the Africa Development Bank projected that the African market will move from 1.2 million vehicles in demand annually in 2017 to 30, or rather to 10 million vehicles demanded annually by 2030. It is against this background, if my colleague will turn the leaf to the next slide, that the assignment you've given to us, Your Excellency, working together in a multi-sectoral approach, we envision a robust, competitive, and sustainable indigenous motor vehicle industry producing 500,000 vehicles, that is 500,000 vehicles annually by 2030 here in Uganda. Our intention, Your Excellency, is to ensure with resolve that many of the parts of buses, trucks, pickups, SUVs, Your Excellency, SUVs are the cars that your ministers drive, also similar to this one that you came driving, tractors, amongst others, that these parts are made here locally by our scientists. And our fresh minister has already mobilized the scientists, especially the engineers in the universities, and created a think tank where they have come together to think about how we can work into these value chains. The small and medium enterprises, and we don't want to leave behind the artisans in Katwe, Kakira, and other places. On that slide, Your Excellency, if you could go back, you see some of these parts are not rocket science. I had actually carried a few, but the rain confused us a bit. I had wanted to show you some which have been made here. But when you see the doors of these buses, that is aluminum. Those doors can be fabricated here very easily, and the glass can be made out of sand, also locally here. We have very high quality sand. The seats, you have the plastic, which can be made here. We have the wiring harnesses, Uganda Cable Corporation, we have already engaged them. They are charged and ready. the washers, nuts, batteries Murana is already making. We can go into filters. These are parts that can actually be made with not too much investment by our scientists, small, medium enterprises, and artisans when they are brought together, rallying behind a vision with the private sector providing the offtake. Your Excellency, the automotive industry globally is known as an industry of industries. Why? Because when we establish a factory like this, it will potentially result into 300 factories manufacturing vehicle parts locally and employing over 100,000 people. Your Excellency, we intend to skill and perfect the skills of our artisans in Katwe and elsewhere to manufacture motor vehicle parts, also for export, because some of these parts, we may not consume all of them. We need to send to our colleagues in the Congo, South Sudan, Kenya, and the rest of the world, just like we are doing with the pharmaceuticals from Quality Chemicals. Transforming them from subsistence into manufacturing, ICT, service sectors, and therefore to the money economy. Your Excellency, allow me to highlight that the motor vehicle value chain, as we see today and as we work, has 3 core tech tiers. One is the tier where we develop, where we do research and development, and we have Makerere University here. The Vice Chancellor could wave again for recognition, my professor, Barnabas Nawangwe. But we have the principal of the College of Engineering, Design and Art, Engineer Dr. Professor Henry Alinaitwe, here as well. And we intend to continue working with them and other higher education institutions to ensure that research and development leads the way in innovating and optimizing the value within the local economy. But we will also go a long way in defining what is needed in terms of requirements, the technical specification, and establishing capacities for testing automotives and related products here. Because it has been proven internationally that where the international players test, they invest. If we can allow Land Rover to come and work with us on testing some of their components, the chances are very high that they will also invest in our value chain. Under make, of course, the manufacturing of components, the assembly of the whole vehicles, and under sales, establishing marketing, sales distribution, and the sales engineering, which is the after-sales service. This is the way we see the entire value chain coming together and providing a cocktail of opportunities. Because when you see, Your Excellency, a typical vehicle has 30,000 parts. A motorcar, eya bulijjo, erina obutundutundu emitwalo 3. Obutundutundu buno tuyinza obwawulamu mu mitendera 7. Obutundutundu obwo bukozesa okuvuga emotoka, what we call powertrain and propulsion, nga engine ne gearbox. Obutundutundu bwe tuyita chassis, suspension, steering, brake systems. Obutundutundu obukozesebwa mu heating, ventilation and air conditioning, nga engine fan ne radiator. Interior and safety components like the airbags, the seats, body components like the doors, the glass, exterior components like the lights and wipers, and also ebyamasanyalaze ng'obumba bukalimagezi bwe tuyita vehicle control units n'ebigenderako. Kakati abakenkufu bakyetegereza ne bazuula nti supply chain okola obutundutundu buno, it constitutes 85% of the opportunity in the value chain, and it provides 4.5 times the jobs that are typically provided in the plant. It means that if Kira is going to employ 1,000 workers, the suppliers of Kira, when we establish them here, will be employing 4,500 workers. Your Excellency, era twayongera ne tukizuula nti w'okakatiriza emirimu gino egy'okukola amamotoka, ate oyongera okwanjuluza emikisa mu industries endala, Kakati nga mu kuweesa, we can fabricate the frame of a bus, but we can also use the same principles to fabricate the steel, structural steel for the building as you see there. The frame of the bus, the structural steel, the windows, the doors. If you move over to the area of plastic molding, plastic seasonal byproducts are oil waffe. In the automotive industry, through plastic injection molding, you can make radiator fans, door latches, self-locking clips, but the same concepts and principles can be extended within the same factories to make connectors for plumbing, to make cuts and baskets for shopping, to make plastic gears which are used in clocks, and so many other applications. Mu by'okutunga nga tukozesa ebyalaani, Your Excellence, bwe tuba tukola emitto gy'olabyeko mu mmotoka ezo, emitto egyo tugitunza ngalo n'ekyalaani. Weewaawo oyinza okukozesa ekyalaani eky'amasannyalaze naye ng'era kiba kyalaani. So when you're doing the threading and the stitching, the same concept used to stitch the cushions, whether leather or textile, can be used for stitching shoes, can be used for making handbags, ezabakyala, for making belts for the gentlemen, for making purses, for making the clothes that we wear. And allow me, Your Excellence, to observe here that when you knew you were coming, we knew that when you come to Jinja, the former industrial glory, you shouldn't move away with nothing made from Jinja. So we quickly consulted our brothers across of Night Hill, and we made 2 shirts for you with a badge of Kira Motors Corporation. We look forward to seeing you donning them. Kakati ate byabakenkufu, Industry 4+ technologies or 4th industrial revolution, 3D printing tuyinza omukozesa okukola obutundutundu bungi mu motoka, robotics, Internet of Things okubanga emotoka zino ziri connected ku satellite, ne tulaba jelly for tracking. It can be connected to your house at home, so that maybe if you forgot your key, you can open it from there, you can operate it using your mobile phone. Our buses, as well as CCTV camera, which the security can also use for surveillance, amongst others, including artificial intelligence. These same concepts find their applications in security, in manufacturing of toys, in industrial automation, amongst other things, which implies, Your Excellence, that when we build a sustainable automotive industry, we are actually building the heart, or what other Bakenkufu call the Habinga of African industrialization. And here, you're leading from the front. Your Excellency, allow me to just remind you, because you know, that Uganda is endowed with abundant mineral and other natural resources, which are critical for the manufacture of motor vehicles. I can't overemphasize the issue of iron ore, from which we can get automotive steel. And as I highlighted earlier, this bus has over 5.4 tons of automotive steel. How beautiful will it be when we are not importing this steel, but we are developing the iron and steel value chain? We have very high quality silica sand, which is the element that makes glass. Rare earth elements, which can be used for glass glazing, catalytic converters, batteries, and electronics. We have graphite in Uganda, which can be used for brake pads. We have oil from which we can get plastics to make a wide range of components. We have cobalt and lithium for electric vehicle batteries. We have kaolin, marble, and vermiculite, which are key elements in making paints for the automotive and also for the construction industry. We have tungsten, columbite. Some of these are elements which are very stable at very high temperatures. These can be used for metal alloys, which can be used in high-speed elements like the gears, the drive axles, amongst others. And of course, remember our Chirembe mines, where we used to get copper, which can be used for the conductors, electrical conductors, as well as motors. Scientifically, Your Excellence, we have been working with the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor to understand how value within the automotive industry value chain is apportioned to different categories of parts. And in that slide, you see that there are 7 core tiers of the entire value chain: raw material processing, component design and development, testing and validation, component manufacturing, module assembly, subsystem assembly, and then the final system integration and vehicle assembly. And the parts could be categorized as 3 in terms of value. The raw material intensive parts like the frame of a bus, the value added intensive parts like the electronics, I show you there a printed circuit board, which is the heart of a chip, or rather which is the heart of a vehicle control unit, and an instrument cluster. And I want to let you know, Your Excellence, that our buses run off the Android operating system. So our ICT people can start tinkering and playing with applications that enable those buses to do more. And then the electric vehicle battery. And when you watch that value chain carefully, you see that if, for example, we established the value chain of iron and steel, we have the opportunity to achieve over 30% of the value. And the rest of the numbers are shown for your information. But I also want to indicate, Your Excellency, that the electric vehicle battery is very interesting, because if we just process our cobalt, 15% of the value. If we did component design and development, 20% of the value. If we did the module assembly, the cell, 20% of the value, and so on and so forth. Allow me to note, Your Excellence, earlier you asked me the cost, the price of an electric bus. And allow me to note that 50% of the price of an electric vehicle is actually in the battery. We have cobalt here in Uganda, and most of the cobalt is with our brothers in the DRC. We need to decisively move, and we are working, also consulting with Uganda Development Bank and Makerere University, to see that we develop the capacity to manufacture electric vehicle batteries locally. Our intention, Your Excellence, is to ensure that as far as buses, lorries, and pickup trucks are concerned, in 8 years from now, we are making 65% of the parts locally. That is about 19,500 parts made here. Now you would ask, how does that compare with elsewhere? In the US, the models which have the highest value made locally have up to 76%. That is mainly from General Motors, Ford, and Chrysler, the indigenous one. In India, which is a country that has very, very similar characteristics with us in certain aspects, 70% of the Tatas is made locally. German, which is one of the industrial giants in the world, the leading brands like Mercedes, BMW, and VW achieve 70% of the parts made locally. South Africa has mainly been focusing on assembly for a very long time, and they are making up to 38.7% locally. Morocco, 60%, and we hope that, we plan to achieve 65%. And this will be achieved through developing the necessary skills here, through utilizing our materials, through putting in place the right policies, and placing emphasis on off-takers like Tondeka and, of course, others, and ensuring that we have the right financing mechanisms at UDB and with other players like Rentico, so that the product can be financed in the marketplace. Allow me to indicate once again, Your Excellency, that off-takers are very important. Firstly, government is the leading consumer of new vehicles, the SUVs and the pickups. And we are asking, Your Excellency, that let us have an off-take agreement with the government for at least 300 vehicles a year, SUVs and pickups, especially considering that the government in a very good year buys 1,200 pickups. So if we took just 25% of that in an off-take agreement, we are going to have the off-take demand to enable the plant to take off. The off-taker, we have already signed an agreement with Victoria Motors Limited, and I don't know whether the general manager is here, Mr. Oti, so that he can wait for recognition. And these are the authorized representative of Mitsubishi Motor Corporation. We intend to work with them for contract manufacturing of their pickups here and also their electric hybrid SUVs, with some of the parts progressively sourced locally. I will not talk a lot about our other off-taker, Tondeka, who is very important as well, because as this plant gets into production in December, end of December, we already have someone who has mobilized the necessary financing instruments without liability to government to initially take 1,030 buses made here. In the medium term, they plan to take 3,000 buses. In the medium term, we are talking about 2 to 5 years. They will take up to 5,000 buses, so that they move their daily passenger capacity from 1.5 million in a business as usual situation, and half of that during the pandemic, up to 3 million passengers transported daily. Your Excellency, this is a very important opportunity for us to take off. But we also recognize that in the medium term, Kampala alone needs 7,000 buses with a replacement cycle of 8 years. That means that if in the medium term we have supplied 3,000, that is only 45% of the market. There is enough room for the competition that you're encouraging, so that other players like my very good Elder Metu and others who are coming up can also have space to do business. And through that competition, we hope that the client will benefit and the industry will grow very fast. Your Excellency, allow me to highlight 6 very important timelines we see in the foreseeable future. Working with the General Museveni in Ruwero, I don't know whether he made it, General Museveni. Right now, we are building 3 buses. They will be ready at the end of next month. This exercise is going on. I have 25 of my staff there right now working, and General Museveni's team is also bringing in resources, and we are using those facilities to train and ensure that when the production line is here, we already have the critical supervisors who will proficiently run this line. We also are working with the Tondeka to build 5 training buses which should be deployed on the road in October. This will be used also to consolidate the skills in the manufacturing end, but also to train the operators, because driving a bus, Mr. Mayambala and his team need some upskilling and perfection in order for them to drive the bus with honor and with pride. Your Excellency, with your support and with the fire brand we have in our fresh minister, Honorable Dr. Monica Musenero, the plant will be ready by the end of December 2021. And we hope to invite you to commission it at the beginning of January to start producing buses here. Honorable, or rather Your Excellency, we are working to deploy 1,020 buses made here by June 2022 with the capacity that we'll have established. And working together with Tondeka as shareholders in the special purpose vehicle, also pulling in the private sector you've had mentioned here, we are looking into drawing in the resources of your people in Kasita, the Twagalane, and so on. They have a lot of money and they have been building malls. Now we are saying let that money be brought and we build bus terminals, we build bus stops, we establish road furniture, amongst others, and they have agreed to do this and have it in place by December 2021. And we hope to have the official launch of the Kampala bus system on our side with 300 buses initially by the end of the month of February 2020. As I wind up, Your Excellency, allow me to note a few things. One, the work that we are doing is projected to create 100,000 jobs directly and indirectly. But already, with General Mujira's team here and the consultants, allow me to request the consultants from Technology Consults who have been, they designed and they are supervising this work to stand up. The CEO is here, Dr. Kariko Vuhwezi, I hope he also made it. And we have this young lady, can she come a little bit closer? One of the engineer who is the clerk of works is actually from Mutai. She's called Nakanda. Nakanda ends with the DHA. So she's from Mutai here, a registered engineer, and she's the clerk of works. So we are also employing people from here. And through this work, over 500 jobs have been created. Carpenters, usually when we find carpentry work going on here, we have over 50 carpenters alone to do the carpentry. Steel benders for the reinforcement steel, fabricators, all the windows are fabricated here. We just buy material from roofings and we make the windows here. The concrete blocks and the pavers, all of that, you see, they are made here. So all of those people have already gotten jobs. We found some of those people here growing tomatoes, which is not a very bad idea. But now they are working in the building of this factory, and their income has tremendously improved. Your Excellency, the construction of this factory has already plowed back 28 billion within just a period of 30 months, 28 billion in procuring or in sourcing materials for construction locally. Sand, reinforcement steel, structural steel, these very complicated steel members here, aggregates like the ones which have been placed there, maram for the roads, eucalyptus poles, hardcore fill, and so on. In the transport operations, we estimate that URA, the Commissioner General of URA is here, Your Excellency. He could stand up for recognition. And we've been working very closely with him to ensure that we seamlessly integrate in the business. It is estimated that in the 5 years of operation, the government, the central government, will collect 200 billion, and the local government will collect 61 billion. That is the Wachisos, the Mokonos, and the like. Engaging small and medium enterprises in the manufacture of vehicle components and parts is very important, and we are working with the Ministry of Trade, Industry and Cooperatives. Honorable Bahati is here, specifically to pursue this agenda. You already saw him, but it doesn't hurt for him to show that he's still here. And this is something we are very passionate about. We want the small manufacturers to come out of where they are, and we work together to make as many parts, the 30,000 parts here. When we set up comprehensive maintenance, repair, and service centers for buses and trucks, we will improve the quality of service, reduce vehicle downtime, and lead to increased revenue for the fleet. And finally, Your Excellency, we are looking at the electric bus and electric vehicles with a lot of interest. And the Honorable Minister has already also engaged a group of young people who are working on the electric motorcycles, border work, and others, so that we synergize, because there are so many things we can collaborate. We can compete in the marketplace, but we can have a unified voice to engage you and the other stakeholders. But specifically, we believe that with Kampala being known as the most polluted city in Africa, or rather the second most polluted city in Africa, and the top 15 in the world, as we move towards electric vehicles made here, we will go a long way in improving sustainable energy consumption, air quality, and demonstrate Uganda's commitment to enhanced environmental stewardship. Your Excellency, allow me to thank you in a special way for sharing this opportunity with us today, where you've demonstrated to the rest of the world, not just Uganda and Africa, that you mean business when you talk industrialization, that you mean business when you say vehicles should be electric, that you mean business when you say that we should shift to environmentally friendly motor vehicles, that you mean business when you say that the private sector and the public sector should work as one to transform our economy into an upper middle income economy by 2040. I thank you very much.
Your Excellency, may you be pleased to permit Honorable Dr. Museveni, the Minister of Science, Technology and Innovation, to come and speak. Thank you very much.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, colleagues, the Cabinet Ministers, honorable members of Parliament present, heads of various government agencies and private sector, all distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Your Excellency, let me begin by thanking you once more for appointing me as Minister of Science, Technology and Innovation. As you have heard, I'm enjoying myself doing this job. Your Excellency, on behalf of the Minister of Science, Technology and Innovation, it gives me great pleasure to welcome you today at the Ginger Industrial and Business Park on this occasion of laying the foundation stone for the Kira vehicle plant. Ideally, you should have come here in 2019 when work began, but due to unavoidable circumstances, this happens to be your first visit to this iconic site in the history of economic transformation of Uganda, to visit Kira Motors, which has now metamorphosed from a research project within a university by students into a full-blown indigenous motor vehicle manufacturer. Your Excellency, this achievement illustrates my understanding of your vision of socio-economic transformation and community growth through knowledge-based industry. Kira Motors is a project pioneering the philosophy many nations have followed to transform their economies. This is the philosophy of industrialization and large-scale production. The story of Kira Motors most clearly demonstrates your dream to use science for national transformation using this knowledge economy. Your Excellency, as I have studied Uganda's strategic documents, especially Vision 2040, NDP 3, the NRM Manifesto, and that profound booklet, The Real versus Vulnerable Economy, that you produced, I realize the momentous contribution science, technology, and innovation must make if we are to achieve that vision. Successful industrialization is hinged on development of the key industrial sectors, including automotive industry, through import substitution and promotion of local manufacturing and mineral-based industries. The value of a development like this permeates society, Your Excellency, as you have heard, beyond just this facility, and it promotes the entire value chain, starting with research, which helps to develop the skills and the thinking ability of our learners in institutions of higher learning, contributing greatly to the development of their confidence. Your Excellency, you've seen the young people here, because they are participating in something real, they show a confidence because they know that they can contribute, they can make contribute something tangible. This kind of thing grows the skills in the population, attracting more industries into the country, and transforms the thinking of consumers of development. Overall, it improves our national competitiveness on the Human Development Index, building our pride as a nation and enhancing patriotism it also contributes other jobs. Your Excellency, I must appreciate your personal commitment in ensuring that Chira Motors receives all the support, including the funding and the encouragement. And we want to thank the Minister of Finance for providing funds and the contribution of your very dynamic Minister in charge of investment, Honorable Anite, making sure that we have the land. Your Excellency, at this point in time, Chira Motors is like Perus Temtai running the 3,000-meter steeplechase. We are at that end where we must put in place that finishing power so that we can win the gold. Our funding requirement for this financial year, which would see us begin the road of self-sufficiency, was submitted to finance as 218.2 billion. Finance graciously allocated as 77 billion, leaving a funding gap of 141 billion. We really appreciate the budgetary constraints brought about by the unprecedented difficulties arising from COVID-19. The injection of this remaining money this financial year will enable us to hit our target of completing the assembly lines at this facility by December 31st and officially inaugurating our vehicle manufacturing early next year in February. Your Excellency, in that Nkolera Kida language, we have a saying which says, "Oh, gingo mleme, umtwalira nakimu." It means that if you are carrying a person who needs, take them up to home. Therefore, Your Excellency, we are requesting that even amidst these tough times, we avail that balance so that we will win off Chira Motors. Thereafter, Chira Motors will require about 12 billion per year just to support them for the next 3 years. After that, they will start bringing in money for government. Your Excellency, ever since you entrusted me to lead this docket of science, technology, and innovation, I have regularly interacted with Chira Motors Corporation. I want to commend Professor Sunday Tekodri and Engineer Paul Musasizi for the wonderful team they have built here. Your Excellency, if we had workers like this, we would transform Uganda even under these next 5 years into a totally complete country. This is a team which can deliver if we give them the support they need. They exemplify the kind of workforce that will drive national transformation. Over the few months I have interacted with them, I have learned that the motor vehicle market is actually large and available. And it is growing. The growing demand for vehicles, however, remains untapped in Africa and also especially in Uganda. The global average motorization rate is 174 vehicles per 1,000 individuals. The African average is 44 cars per person, per 1,000 persons. However, Uganda, we have 14 cars per 1,000 persons. And in the absence of a well-structured public transport system, the reason why we have congestion is because 65% of those cars are private cars carrying 1 to 3 persons. So the roads are full and they carry only 90% of the daily commuters, resulting into heavy traffic and road congestion, especially in the city. And Your Excellency, this will quickly emerge in the new and upcoming cities that you recently launched, unless there is pre-planning and establishment of organized public transport. Your Excellency and colleagues, as we celebrate this achievement, I want us to note it has taken us close to 15 years to move from the green car, when there was a student project, to this place. Although this is a big achievement, I believe we can move faster if things are better streamlined, because 15 years is a relatively long time. But now that Chira Motors has laid the pathway with organization, with the streamlining, especially of the scientific community, we can harness a lot. And Your Excellency, as you have heard, I have already embarked on organizing the engineering scientists into think tanks that can fast track the translation of many, many prototypes that they have, and especially aligning it with the priorities of the country under industrialization. And Chira Motors can act as an umbrella organization that it's like a tree. It was like a mustard seed thrown in the ground, it grew, and it's now bearing fruit, and many birds can come and now rest on it. Your Excellency, I wish to note that science, technology, and innovation is cross-cutting. It's a very cross-cutting service which is required by all sectors, but it must be well coordinated for its impact to be felt. The ongoing restructuring of science, technology, and innovation in the country is aimed at harmonization and coordination of research, technology, and innovation requirements across government, and especially aligning it to government priorities, so that we are not just scattered and disconnected, but we are optimize our resources and align them to the national agenda. As we can see, Chira Motors requires research and development to harness minerals, and minerals are lying in a different sector. Textiles, they lie in a different sector. Electronics, they are lying in a different ministry. Digital economy, energy, environment, infrastructure. Without effective coordination and cooperation, it becomes extremely difficult for us to realize the results of investment in science, technology, and innovation. That is why His Excellency has transformed the former Minister of Science, Technology, and Innovation into a secretariat to provide effective coordination, networking, prioritization, regulation, and support to science, technology, and innovation across the board. We believe this will give science, technology, and innovation the necessary momentum to begin impacting on the various industries the way we see Chira Motors is doing. Your Excellency, I'm optimistic that with the right policy interventions and the application of science, technology, and innovation, we will use our resources that we have, the minerals, the oil, in supporting the building of a robust, competitive, sustainable automotive industry. Chira Motors is developing long-term technology partnerships to build core capacities, to develop, make, and sell motor vehicles. Your Excellency, as we enter the spectrum of technology, at the beginning it's important that we learn from those who have the skill, but we must be deliberate to make sure that the knowledge, the skill, and the competencies are being deliberately transferred to our people, so that there is no disconnection between the people and the industrial development. That ensures the participation of the population in the industrialization of the country. Your Excellency, I would also like to take this opportunity to salute the Uganda People's Defense Forces, the National Enterprise Corporation, Technology Consult, for playing a key role in the execution of your visionary leadership in the development of this entity. Your Excellency, when I first came here, I was amazed. I was looking for the usual type of contractors we have. And this technology consult is from Makerere University. So this is a Ugandan thing. Uganda definitely has capacity to do a lot of this. We just need to develop the systems to support our people, be available to guide, coordinate, and support them, and we will drive the country forward. Your Excellency, Professor Tekodri has enumerated the 10 key interventions required for building the indigenous motor vehicle industry. With your guidance and leadership, I'm ready as the chief servant to work with the colleagues and relevant stakeholders toward the realization of the required 10 key interventions. Your Excellency, when I visited here, I told them that the word minister means servant. That's actually the definition of a minister. So I offered myself to be at their service to make sure that we achieve our goals. That's why Professor Tekodri referred to that. Your Excellency, I convey our sincere appreciation for accepting our invitation to grace this occasion and lay the foundation stone at Chira Vehicle plant site. It's now my pleasure to invite the Minister of Finance to come and invite His Excellency to address the congregation. Your Excellency, we are securing our future for God and my country.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, my colleagues, honorable ministers, members of parliament who happen to be here, heads of various government agencies, including the board and the management of Kira Motor Corporation, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Your Excellency, just like many of the previous speakers have noted, it also gives me great pleasure to be here today at the Jinja Industrial Business Park to witness this occasion of laying the foundation stone for the Kira Vehicle plant. This is testimony that scientific research and innovation is one of the verge of transforming Uganda's industrial base. Whereas the motor vehicle industry is both a capital-intensive and knowledge-intensive industry, when supported with the right policies, it plays an important role in the country's socio-economic development. Your Excellency, the key to rapid socio-economic transformation in Uganda rests on industrialization. And I remember, Your Excellency, when you first appointed me, I came and asked you, why have you put me in this role? You said industrialization. And we are pursuing that vision and that goal relentlessly. All this work we have seen here is being done by our Uganda companies employing Ugandans, as it has already been said, and the material for construction, estimated at over 28 billion Uganda shillings, are being sourced within Uganda. Therefore, the operationalization of the Kira Vehicle plant is in line with our budget theme for this financial year, which is industrialization for inclusive growth, employment, and wealth creation. There is not a single large economy that does not have a vibrant motor vehicle industry within its territory. In the economy of development countries, growth in the motor vehicle industry by 1% causes a GDP growth of 1.5%. the indirect impact of the motor vehicle industry on GDP is strengthened through related industries provided by orders from the motor vehicle industry, as we heard one gentleman saying here. For example, the motor vehicle industry in the developed countries is Okay, now, Mr. President, I'm told that time is running out. Let me conclude my remarks. Mr. President, I visited this place about a year ago. It was mere bush. They were making some few roads. I am back here today, 12 miles down the road. I have found a beautiful and permanent structure. Talk about value for money, this one, Mr. President. And therefore, I will not wait you to instruct me, Mr. President. I'm going to adjust my budget somehow to make sure that I give them the 130 billion. 141 billion. We shall go and work with my colleagues, and we look for that 141 billion so that their target, which they have elaborated here, by December or early January, is realized. Lastly, the land issue. I was informed by my colleague, Honorable Anite, that the land purchased here is 190 acres. They have been given 100 acres, as you have heard, Your Excellency. The 90 is also have been given by related industries to this project. We also were talking this morning, if they expand beyond this, we shall also look for other land elsewhere where they can go and expand in different branches. With this, Mr. President, it's now my great pleasure to invite you to address the nation. Thank you very much.
Honorable Ministers, the managers of Chiira Motors, and all invited guests. I have a radio broadcast in the night, so I need to be in Kampala so that I don't go to the studio when I'm dozing. So that's why I had to ask for shortening the speeches. Now, this, you have a Nyankore, have a word called Ovaji. Ovaji can be used to mean, actually it means squandering your resources. Okubaga is to slaughter a cow or something, but Ovaji specifically refers to people who squander their resources. Now, Africa is known for Ovaji. You find whole governments just squandering the resources of the country. I was checking the figures. The amount of money we spend on importing vehicles in Uganda each year. US dollars, $550 million. is sent out to buy vehicles from outside. Obukadde obwa $5 zesasanya okusaka emotoka okuva ebweru. That's why I told those Kampala people that you fellows, you are killing us. Bino ebimotoka byemuleta ebikadde bitulwaza athma ate akasente konna ketujje mu mwanyi, because we earn 500 and something million from coffee. All goes back to bring this second-hand vehicle. Obusubi bwaji banange obwaji obulala bufaanana butya? So, squandering our money by importing other people's vehicles, but at the same time giving jobs to the Japanese. Kubanga emotoka zonna zemuvuga zakolebwa abaana baba Japan. Abaana baffe bakaaba mirimu, so nga emirimu egiriwo tugigabira Aba-Japan. Ago magezi ki? So, you are losing money, you are losing jobs. Naye ate n'okuzira, oba mu Luganda bakiyita kuzira, to boycott something, bakiyita kuzira. Is it there in Uganda, okuzira? To boycott. Mwekiri? Oh, okay. So kati emisango eri mu kooti wano gyentaddeko oba bakasiita oba bandi abagula emmotoka ebikadde. Emisango gye mbateddeko giri ebiri. Okusooka okubaaga okwonoona esente zaffe ez'emwanyi kuzizaayo kugula ebimotoka bino ebikadde. Ogwokubiri okugabe emirimu gy'abaana baffe okugigabira Aba-Japan. Ogwokusatu akatale k'ensi yonna ak'emmotoka, ono omwami Musaasizi atulimbyemu kubanga agambye nti akatale ak'emmotoka mu nsi yonna ziri trillion, oba bawano trillion bakimanyi, trillion agambye nti ziri trillion 3. Naye bwe mbuuziza bangambye nti ziri trillion 5 nezisobamu. Akatale k'emmotoka mu nsi yonna, kati akatale ako ffe twakazira, tewaliwo kyetutundayo. Ogwaffe kugula, tewali kyetutunda mu katale k'emmotoka. All that big market twagyesonyiwa. So these are the 3 big mistakes: squandering our money, giving our jobs away, and abstaining from that huge wealth of the world. No, emisango teginagwayo. Emisango kati ndikugwa prosecutor. Mpawabira aba abantu bange wano ab'e Kampala be nayita nti bannange muve mu bino bye mulimu tukole emmotoka ezaffe. Omusango omulala okuseera Uganda, kubanga bw'ogula emmotoka ekoleddwa ebweru okusooka okugitambuza transport alone Uganda emwongerako ensaasanya kubanga ziva wala. Ekyokubiri, eri gye bakolera emmotoka zino bagagawala dda, emisaala gyabwe giri waggulu nnyo. Abakola emmotoka eri bayonooneka dda, beeweereza emisaala egiyitiridde. Awo nno ne tuwalirizibwa wano okusasulira obwamaridaadi bw'Abajapani. So nga singa emmotoka tugikoledde wano, fe akasaala akaffe kakyali wansiko. N'olwekyo emmotoka ekoleddwa wano ensonga olaba emmere yawaffe. Nze ndi mulunzi, munsasula kiro y'ennyama ziri meka? 8 e Kampala ziri meka? About $10,000. 10,000 awuziba $2. Genda London ogule kilo y'ennyama eri ku $17. Ate ennyama eyange ey'ekisozi esinga eri eya Bungereza, naye munseera ne mumpa $2. Naye sifaayo, siri bubi. So bw'ogula ebyabali oba oguluddemu bw'oyita obuseere, okuseera bwe kiri mu Luganda. Kati obuseere bw'abali kati tubuleeta wano ne tubuteeka ku bantu baffe. Our people are forced to buy expensive products because they have got to pay for the high cost of living of the Europeans. So ngo China we China yakozesa low cost of living in China to become big manufacturer. That's why you find the products of China are cheaper, because their salaries are still low compared to these ones. So for us, we are getting a disadvantage in everything. We don't use our raw materials. All those are mistakes. So therefore, when you see us, when you hear me appealing to people to please wake up and get out of all these mistakes so that we can help our people better. The second point is to salute UPDF for going into the construction. And as you heard, again, for roughly the same reasons or similar reasons, they are cheaper. They are cheaper, why? Because they are not looking for profits. These private companies, first of all, they are looking to 20% profit. Secondly, they go and borrow money from banks, 24%. So from the very beginning, within the cost, you have got something like almost 50%, which has nothing to do with the work, but to pay the interests of banks and the interests of private companies. That's why, therefore, I am determined that UPDF Construction Brigade, which later on can turn into a construction company, will continue to do most of the government work. Ntare, the government school I studied at in the 1960s, had been built by the Ministry of Works. When that, because Ntare and Teso College Aloyet and Sir Samuel Baker School in the north were the first government schools. All these other schools would do what they had been started by the churches. But the government school, secondary, where these were the first. Ntare School, Teso College Aloyet, Samuel Baker, they were the first government schools. And they were built by the Ministry of Works. Up to now, the buildings where I studied are still there. So this is now another mistake which we are sorting out. So I thank the UPDF for responding to my call and stop subcontracting, because the other time they would say UPDF, then they subcontracted China. Ate mwe omufo kyokukora ate mupangisa mulikora ddi mwe mulikwata ddi mutosi naye kati ndowooza kati bakwatirira mutosi. Who is the engineer here? Come here. On the microphone. Now you come also, the other one. What is your name?
Major Engineer Geoffrey Kaima, sir, Your Excellency.
Kaima?
Yes, sir.
So you now know that construction is not Chinese. Omanyi kuzimba siku abachina boka.
Sir, I've known that before.
But you are not doing it. What was the problem?
Sir, I think we are concentrating internally.
No, even internally. Kachiri balimba nti bebazimba Kachiri naye we nagende omuchina yaliyo. Kata ozotya.
I found there were issues of financing internally.
Oh.
Yes, sir.
Kati Bible egamba nti omuntu yena bwenenyeza aliwo nyememe ye obutayingira muki omuntu mbu kwahinduka yareke bye byakozire yakore ebishene bishemerere aliakiza amagara y'okutaha mukufa. So I think now you have repented.
Yes, sir.
And there's a possibility that you may enter the kingdom of heaven. Kale mwebale kurikayo. So that is the second point. First point, okulekeraawo okwonoona obugaga bwa Uganda. Tusaka ebiteetaagisa kusaka. ekyokubiri okwebaza UPDF okuba mu bukafwiri bw'obutamanya nti basobola kweyimirizaawo ne bamanya nti tewali ekisobola kutulema. Number 3, njagala kuyozayoza abatondeka. Mwebale mukulukeyo abatondeka namwe. Abatondeka abo nabasirikira kubanga abanyankole bamwe bagamba nti oluko rw'okuzimu tagaya mushana. Bw'oba ova underground mutaka tosobola kugamba nti omusana guno buli kasana konna kofuna okaniriza. Oluko rw'okuzimu tagaya mushana. The one coming from underground cannot say this sunshine is not enough. Any sunshine is better than where he was underground. So when we came from the bush, we wanted just recovery, anything. Border with the sagala kosi ekigambo kibi olwo ekigambo ky'abanyankole oba n'abaganda bakirina ekigambo olwo ekigambo kibyawo sagala kukikozesa omanyi olwo ekigambo ekigerawo naye sagala kukireeta wano. Those borders with those exhaust fumes, second-hand cars, anything that could do, we welcomed. Naye kati nga bwe muwulira emmotoka ezo zituwa obutwa, emmotoka ezo enkadde zituweereza obutwa. Those gases, which I don't want to name, there's a word which I could use but I don't want to use it. Ndowooza mukitegeddeawo. Those fumes are poisonous. That's why you hear into the air quality. I normally watch TV. Uganda Kampala is number 4. Sometimes number 5. Awali empewo enungi bagamba nti number 1. Awali eriwakiriko number 2. Awali obubi number 3. Uganda Kampala always number 4. Empewo jetusa, the air we are breathing in Kampala is poison because of these cars, these second-hand cars and the borders. Ekyo kiri awo. Ate n'obawo okukozesa obusafuriya obutonotono okufumba emmere, n'ofumba akasafuriya n'ojjula, n'ofumba akasafuriya n'ojjula. Kati tukole tutya? Tusigale n'obusafuriya obwo oba tugule esafuriya ennene Munyankole gyeta rugoro esobole kufumbira amaka. The buses are a safuria enene because they can take many people at a go. So when this came up, I said no, but okukireta nti esafuria enene nti buno busafuria bwebuleta traffic jam eva akasafuria katwala muntu buli omu wetebereza amaka buli mwana alina akasafuria ke okwefumbira. Natasha akasafuria, Patience akasafuria, kinini omumaka kulwaki tembera nesafuria emu enene nemufumbira family yonna. Naye kati bino ebirowoozo byatana okujja ngamba nti naye bino ebirowoozo ebipya mbyaniriza naye saagala mwerabire abantu bange ab'obusafuliya obutono mubakomyeko ate mubayite bave ku busafuliya beegate mu kino bafunemu omugabo mu kino ekipya. I told they were coming. There was an Indian called Hinduja. An Indian called Hinduja. He was in London. He wanted to bring his own vehicles from India and bring them here. But when you bring them, abantu banga bobusafuliya bo banalagawa mubakomyeko bakwita kukomyako. Is it in Uganda? Is that a Uganda word? Okubaka. To alert them. Umenya Uganda rwange rwa ruwero ruriyawo narwo. You alert them. Huh? Kampala nyamba munange. Kubatemyako. Oh, okutemya, okay. This is the one I was struggling with. But now I heard you talking of the taxis and so on. How about the border borders? The border owners, the owners.
Your Excellency, we are also working on the issue of the border borders, but like you advised, we still have the feeder routes. The feeder routes will still require transport. So the borders will still be registered and organized to provide transport in the feeder routes because we will be handling the main ones.
Okay. So there we need an integrated plan where maybe ombuguto obutonotono obuyingireyo mundeyo kawempeyo mu bifo byaffe, maybe using now electric pikipikis instead of these ones. That one can be studied, can also be studied, so that nobody is left behind. So therefore, now that we are getting waliwo ekigambo wano mu Busoga tukita kulambara, ate waliwo n'ekigambo lambara, ekyalo lambara kiri eyo munda eyo nti lambara mwebake nga bwe tuviire mu kulambara. Since we are getting out of sleeping, what is the strategy? Number one, no more importing of wholly built vehicles. Ekyo kyaggwa era nze nalemerako babadde baagala okunkuba akazannyo nti Africa Development Bank etuwoze ssente naye waliwo baasi eziva bweru. Nti oyo kali akantu akawunya bubi akawuka akawunya bubi kamwaka nti oyo kamwaka oyo saagala kuwulira enyamutsimbi abanyakoli bagiteje enyamutsimbi saagala kuwulira ebbanja eririmu okugula erize na baasi eziva bweru nedda sigenda kulikira mutwalire eddala. Naye tumaze okusayininga bw'oba osayininga okuyinza kuddayo nogamba nti niweetonda nti onsonyiwe. Omanyi bano ababbi bano ab'omuluro bo tebafa ku nsi bali esala ya mukama waffe bagisoma bubi. Esala ya mukama waffe gamba nti emmere yaffe y'olwaleero bo ijje baliko yokka biri ebitundu ebyensaala ebirala tebabusoma babeera emmere y'olwaleero emmere y'olwaleero ne mbagamba tisobola okukkiriza baasi wano. So no more wholly built buses. But secondly, no more assembling. Kubanga assembling je nayo yalimu akakodyo nti basi bagikolere bweru yonna bagirete mu butundutundu bagiyungire wano olwo ne weerimba nti nkoze basi. No, you are just kayungirizi wa basi ekoleddwa bweru. Kwe kugamba nti nedda tetwagala kugulira ekigambo assembly, twagala fabricating. Fabricating is totally different. That means you may bring some parts, but the others, you make them here. The body, the what. You may bring the chassis, then you build the body, you build it here. And then manufacturing. So kati erituvuddeyo mukusaka kugula basi ewedde ezimbiddwa ogw'omuziro. Nze neddira nti Lubombwe ndi wante ewaffe mulema kati omuziro omulala mu basi ezimbiddwa bweru ogw'omuziro. Omuziro omulala okuyunga. We must fabricate, then manufacture. Ate omuziro omulala eyo mu maaso tugenda okukiteesaako kyekigambo kya second hand vehicles. But as we start with the buses, we go to the pickups. Once we make here, then we say no more second hand. Once we make here, tetugenda kukitomera, tugenda kubaita ne tukiteesaako nti zino emotoka enkadde zino zantunda bikadde tuziyimiriza ddi. So therefore, this is the journey we are moving on now. I want to salute Professor Tokodri, Musasizi, and his group at Makerere, who took the initiative and did the research in the Faculty of Engineering when they invited me for the green car. I thank them so much. And I thank them for their dedication. Now, I'm glad Omugurusi Kaseija. Omugurusi is the Nyekitara word for old man. Omugurusi Kaseija is Omugurusi. It's a word of respect. In other areas, when you say Omugurusi, they feel annoyed. No, I feel very happy when so Omugurusi nsanyukira ddala. So Omugurusi Kaseija has answered very well. Because you are Banyankore, they have their proverb. Galiembibo gashekere kiteme. Amanyo g'omuntu atalengera wala. Baba atelese ensigo z'okusiga enjala n'emukwata ajjayo ensigo n'azifumba n'azirya kati essaawa y'okusiga bwetuuka amannyo agali ensigo gasekera endimiro kubanga tegalina kyakusiga gali adda kati bannange nasiga ki kubanga ensigo nazirya nakola ki? How do you say? What is embibo nkazirya amanyo g'omuntu atalengera wala galya ensigo nigasekera endimiro kubanga talina kyakusiga naye kati omugurusi Kasaija alaze nti ye alengera kubanga agambye nti oba tufa tufe tunoonye obuwumbi 141 tuyinza okuyimirizako oluguuto olumu oluguuto olwo lugira lulindako mu kifo ky'okutandika omwaka guno lunaatandika omwaka oguddako kubanga kino kizaala sente oluguudo teruzaala sente mangu twala ng'enguuto nzikoze okutuukira ddala Karamoja enguuto zonna nzikoze naye abasinga okukozesa enguudo ezo batamiivu abalimba abagenda kulimba abasamize abagenda kusamira ekiro singa olindako n'ogamba nti oluguuto luno kubanga kino kyo kizaala sente mangu owulidde bw'oteekamu obuwumbi 141 ne kigwa emyaka 2 egiddako n'oteekamu obuwumbi 7 omwaka ogwokusatu kizaala. So it's bad planning to fail to complete this one and then you just go. So therefore I salute. You cannot fail to see what can produce results quickly and then you just scatter all over the place. So I salute Omugurusi Kasaija for that good decision. Finally, I am really this time determined. I don't know whether there are members of parliament here. Are there members who are here? Who is that one?
Your Excellency, I'm the area member of parliament, Zijan David Livingstone, also the Dean of the Independents in the 11th Parliament.
What's your name?
Zijan David Livingstone.
Zijan?
Yes, Your Excellency.
Are you a good man or a bad one?
I am a product of your leadership, sir, and your leadership produces fantastic people.
Oh, very good. Katumtwali rao. So now, there's another member of parliament.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Loi Katali, Oman MP Jinja.
Who?
Loi Katali.
Oh, Katali.
Yes.
Jinja.
Yes, sir.
You are the former member of parliament. You are the one who was there before.
Yes, Your Excellency.
You won the election.
I did.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. So now the members of parliament, I've been telling everybody for a long time that really, if you want your country to develop, although we still have other issues, but yes?
Your Excellency, the neighbor, woman member of parliament, Buyukwe district, Mutasingwa Diana.
Okay, Mtasingwa Diana, yes. I've been telling our people that please, if you want your country to develop, pay the scientists well. Even if we don't have enough money to pay everybody well, but let us start with the scientists. But you know, nange ni mukuru, nange ni mukuru, nange ni mukuru. Okay, oli mukuru na ye okututaasa bwe tuba tufunye ekizibu ng'ekigambo ekyentambula nga kino owasoma Shakespeare tasobola kutukolera motoka agenda kugamba nti Shakespeare bwe yayimirira bw'ati yagamba bw'ati. Okay, kale wobale nnyo otulaze nti omutima gwo omutwe gwo gukora naye emotoka eri ludda wa. Kati bwe tufuna obulwadde nga buno bwa korona tuba tukyali awo ani atuyambye? Ogwanga yasoma ki? Science. Abasawo baffe korona eno abaana bano babonyaabonye. You can imagine these children, the doctors and the nurses in intensive care unit every day. Now it's 1.5 years. Abana babera mu dwaniro eri ebyobulamu. So I have been telling people, yes, I know. Me, I studied literature. Bombuze bya Shakespeare byonna bimanyi. Shakespeare yayimirira bw'ati n'agamba bw'ati ate yakyuka. Okay, thank you very much. Naye ekirungi nze ate nasomako ka science kale ak'emmundu ako nako. Nange ndi wa science mu ngeri eyo. But the people who have really saved the country are the scientists. So these young people, like these ones here, these young people, tufiirwa ki abaana abo bwe tubasasula bulungi ne banywerera wano ne balemwa okusumwasumwa kugenda bweru okusumanya kugenda South Africa kugenda wa bonna ne basigala wano si bangi kubanga mbuziza nti abana science ba government bali bameka tebangamba nti bali emitwalo 59,000 I was told. Abanene n'abatono nasizi bona awamu bali emitwalo 5 out of 480,000 public servants. Singa abaana bano tubasasula bulungi bona ne basigala wano, omusawo n'asigala wano, engineer n'asigala wano, oli ogwanga owamadagala n'asigala wano, then fabalala ngaze aba Shakespeare tulija luvannyuma naffe batwongereko. But my people were not listening. Fena twasoma nze nasoma Latini, Sanctus Saba. So nolecho njagala aba NRM aba cabinet mukirize tusasule ba scientists bano bulungi. Esente bwe teziwera okusasula ffenna awamu leka bano basooke kubanga kirabika obuyambi bwabwe tubwetaaga mangu. Nze wa Shakespeare nange ni mukulu naye byange biyinza kujja luvannyuma. Ono asoose n'atutaasa obulwadde nga kino ekyentambula. Practical things. If we do that, this country will move because these people here, like the Musasis, and Tokodru, even when they were getting, now they are getting a little bit better now because of my struggle insisting. But at that time they were getting very little. But they are the ones who came up with this. You look at this one now. Nobody can oberambia Shakespeare. Shakespeare yayimirira bwati. Ate yatunira eno n'agamba bwati. Okay, webale nnyo oli mugezi tukutegedde. Naye tunatambula tutya. Ebintu binkwatako. Nze nasoma Shakespeare. No, that's really bad planning. Esinga China zemulaba ezavayo mangu, Japan, Germany, batekako nnyo essira kuba na science. So with these few words, it is my honor to declare today ejinja nditaddeko Katonda ababeere. Thank you.
Excellency.